Hi everyone, I was recently tagged in a video called #DefiningMe by Agent of Doubt, so I've decided to make this video because it's quick and also, hey, whatever, it's just a little bit of fun and games and I think it'll be good for us, eh? Nice to have a little report. So let's start with the first question that is given to us by That Guy Funk. What is the focus of your YouTube channel? Well, the focus of my YouTube channel technically is whatever it is that I want to focus on. At the moment it's anti-social justice and pretty much any extremist, radical political movement or philosophy really, although at the moment it's mostly social justice, but I'm thinking about moving in to talk about some of the alt-right stuff if I can find the material and maybe, branch out into more mainstream stuff to see what, the three major parties in my country have been up to, because American politics is done to death and I think it's time that maybe British politics gets its time in the limelight. I've already done videos on American politics. I think British politics is something I'm more comfortable with in expressing my views on because it's just something I know more about. 2. What hobbies do you have that you haven't shared on YouTube? I don't know. I think everyone pretty much knows that I watch movies, play video games, I read, I write. Although I don't write for the YouTube channel, but I have written some scripts back in the day when I first started. I might make some scripts in the future, who knows? I mean, I think I've pretty much told everyone that I do these things. Who knows? Maybe I have some hobbies that I would like to do, but I'm incapable of, like, say, drawing. I wish I could draw. Everyone knows that I have a trouble getting artwork for this channel. If it's not incapable of drawing it, it's usually people that I get to draw the art aren't very good, or I fall out with them, or people say they're going to do things, but then they don't do anything. And yeah, that's a hobby I would love to have. And another hobby would, if I had the money to travel, I would love to travel just maybe once or twice a year, not like overdo it like a lot of people do, just to visit a place I haven't visited before, it doesn't have to be abroad or anything like that, just anywhere really. So yeah, I think everyone knows about my hobbies really. So next question, what is your number one talent? What talent do you wish you had? Well, one of the talents that I wished I had was, of course, drawing. My number one talent, well, I'm not the most talented person in the world now that I think about it. I mean, I guess my talent is soaking up information, but that's not the number one talent. I think my number one talent at the moment is doing this, presenting to you guys and talking to you guys about stuff like this. I think that's my number one talent. I haven't got anything else. And I can present to people, I can do these things, and I'm very good at storing information and then expressing that information with my own opinion. I've always been good at that, and I only improved as I went through education, and now I do it through this. I guess that's my number one talent. I'm not saying I'm the best, but that's just what I'm good at. So yeah, I wish I could draw. I wish I could play football. Soccer, people, for those Americans out there, but the world calls it football. I wish I could play football. That's another thing I wish I could do. Sports in general, really. I can only run. Question number 4. What are the 3 main character traits that define you? Well, that's a tough question. I would say loyalty. I'm quite loyal to my friends. I would say the next one is I have a thirst for knowledge. I always like to learn. I always like to express that knowledge, stuff like that. I'm very knowledgeable, I guess. And the other one, this isn't any order, I'd say the other one is I'm very individual. I don't like being parts of crowds. I don't like following what other people do. I've been to a few protests where I'm the only person who won't do a particular thing, or I'll be one of 2. Like, for example, I went to these protests that some people did. It was quite big, although we missed the first massive day, with my friend, that because the Tory party were doing their conference in our city. And I don't like the Tory party, but I don't particularly like Labour at the moment either. I mean, I thought they had hope, but I'm losing hope because nothing good is happening right now. They're not really, impressing me right now. They're not doing anything that I can say I can get behind because they're too busy fighting each other. So who knows? Maybe when they start fighting each other and they can actually have a coordinated thing, maybe I'll resume the hope. But you know, apart from that, I went to the protest. Everyone was like throwing, at least not everyone, but a lot of these people were handed out these balls you get in, in ball pits. And they had to throw them at Tory politicians who were walking into the conference. One, I found that very horrible. I thought that was tantamount to assault. But because they weren't, horrible, hard things, they weren't throwing cricket balls at people, I guess it was okay and the police didn't stop anyone. I just thought it was horrible and it made them look bad, but they didn't care. They're just a bunch of whiny children. Then at another point, we went to this alleyway which was overlooking what's called the GMEX in Manchester, which is near the hotel that the Tories were at. Or at least, actually, I don't know if the conference was in the GMEX or the hotel. I think the hotel was where they were staying, but the GMEX was where the presentation was. And these people just sat down to show, oh, this is what they're doing to crush us. And I was talking to this German journalist. I'd separated from my friend. I knew where she was. She was one of the ones sitting down. And I told him, I don't like the Tory party as much as these people, but I think it shows weakness that you would just sit down and just pretend that this is what they're doing to us. To me, I would stand up and be counted and show that they're not going to put me down and I'm going to, fight back. That's my opinion. He worked for their equivalent of The Guardian, but I forgot who they were. It wasn't Der Spiegel, it was another one. But I had a nice conversation with him. It was off the record as far as I know. Question number 5. What do you do to relax and have fun? Well, this is what I do to have fun. To relax, I'll read a book or just have a cup of tea and watch some YouTube videos, or that can be exasperating if it's a particularly horrible person someone's responding to. But yeah, I like doing that stuff. Watch a film, write some things when I am able to, and watch sports and like the football and stuff like that. That's what I do. It's very simple. I don't have much. Number 6. Do you have pets? And if so, what are their names? I used to have a rabbit. She sadly died. She got killed by a dog and she was called Olive. Why did she call it Olive? Oh, she was a kind of greeny brown colour and we named her after the character from Little Miss Sunshine. She was called Olive. Great rabbit, crafty, highly intelligent. Didn't need to teach her much because she could do it herself. That's how good she was. Bundle of fun, and I still get a little bit teary when I think about her, so let's not get too into that. Question 7, who is your celebrity crush? It's always going to be Zooey Deschanel, I guess, but it depends what kind of celebrity. Are we talking musicians or actors? But I think at the moment it's definitely Zooey Deschanel. I think she's really hot. Problem is, sometimes she does delve into the social justice thing, but she's still hot and dreamy, and I wish I could be her boyfriend or husband or something, Yeah, there are some girls that I would marry even if it goes against me. It's kind of like, yeah, I would marry that person. So that's question 7 for you. Question 8, who are your role models? My parents are my role models. I don't have role models when it comes to anybody else. Well, actually, family members. Other family members can be too. They have to be. That's their role. Otherwise, what's the point in having them? What's the point in having granddads, uncles, aunties, mums and dads if they're not your role models? They're not trying to show you the correct path in life. My favourite YouTubers, musicians, footballers, sportsmen in general, politicians, thinkers, philosophers, they're not my role models, they're my influences. They're not role models. I don't think we should push this whole role model thing onto people who aren't related to these kids. I don't think kids need role models from outside their familial zones, or maybe teachers. Teachers probably should be role models because they're teaching these kids. They have a duty to be, but also the parents. Number 1, 95% of the time should be the role models. 5% of that should be teachers or whoever's looking after the kids or whatever. Yeah, they're just my influences. They should be positive influences, but at the same time, why would you want a sports person to be a positive influence? Look, this person is good. Get to his level. At least do what they did to get to that level. But whatever, it's too complicated and people will disagree with me on that. And question 9. Do you have a joke or a funny story that you like to tell? Sadly, I'm not very good with funny stories or jokes. I don't have one on me. I didn't really think that far ahead. I guess you're going to have to just find them on my YouTube channel somewhere. I'm sure I've told them without even thinking. So that's all I've got so far. And as for people I would tag, Wasley, Omegan, Peach Bailey, Spinosaurus Kin, and Griffix. Those are the 5 people I want to tag. So there you go, people. Have fun.